Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Duelist Kingdom is one of the most iconic arcs in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh anime franchise, and in today's video we are going to be ranking the 20 Duelist Kingdom duels from worst to best. Now some of you might remember I made a video where I ranked every duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, and if you're interested in that I'll have that linked down below, but I'm sure that video is probably a little too much for some people, which I totally get, and so I think this is going to be a fun segment to do for every arc as I am watching through all of the Yu-Gi-Oh shows from DM all the way through Go Rush. Before we get into it, the duels that I am ranking had to have a little bit of substance to them. I'm not ranking duels that were off screen or only showed one turn. So with that said, we are starting from the very first episode up until the end of the Yugi Pegasus duel. And let's jump right into it. Here is every duel ranked in Duelist Kingdom. I hope you all enjoy. Number 20, Yugi versus Mocha. So if you guys watched my video where I ranked every duel, you might remember this duel was actually at the bottom spot. I think this is one of the worst duels in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a big nothing burger. Mocha is summoning one monster. Yugi is summoning one monster. There's some good backstory, but the duel itself is incredibly forgettable, and this is one that a lot of people probably have no recollection of. The duel ends with Mocha just running away, and it's a no result technically. It's not a good duel, and it rightfully should be at the bottom spot. Number 19, Kaiba versus Joey. So here's one that I actually ranked a lot higher when I ranked all of the duels, and on my rewatch, I don't know why I ranked it high. I guess because I just really loved the Red Eyes summoning, the Blue Eyes summoning, but this duel is actually not good at all. It's the only duel where characters don't start with 5 cards. They literally draw a card, slap it on Kaiba's new duel disc, throw it out, and then summon a monster, and that's it. It's literally a contest of which duelist can summon a bigger beat stick. It's incredibly primitive, and even with the star power in this duel, I do not find it very entertaining. Number 18, Yugi versus Pegasus, round 1. I know when I said Yugi versus Pegasus, some people are like, what the hell, 18th? Well, I'm referring to the VHS duel that takes place in the second episode of the series. This duel is trippy, and it's not terrible. I think it does a good job of serving the purpose of portraying Pegasus as a really competent and strong and even terrifying villain with the power of the Millennium Eye. Seemed like Yugi may have actually been able to defeat him if it wasn't for the time limit, which is an element that I never really loved. I kind of wished Pegasus just beat him outright, given that the result would have been the same of Yugi's grandpa being kidnapped and all the motion being put into place for Duelist Kingdom, but it is what it is. This duel's not very good, and it comes in at 18. Number 17, Yugi versus Bakora. So Yugi and Bakora would have 3 duels throughout DM, and the other 2 I feel are both top 10 worthy in the entire show, but this one is one I've never felt too highly about. I did like seeing all of the characters designed as their favorite monsters, but this is a duel that did not take place in the manga and kind of replaces what we see at the end of Season 0, an arc that I actually really like in the manga, and I feel like this duel does not fill those shoes very well. It's an okay duel, but one of the more underwhelming ones, in my opinion. Number 16, Joey versus Mai. So this is actually our first one-turn kill in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, which is kind of a fun fact. But other than that, and other seeing the cool Time Wizard effect of aging Mai's Harpies in order to give Joey the win, there's really not much to write home about. I did always love the element of Mai using perfume in order to know which cards she was going to draw next, which is something that TGS Anime actually tested and confirmed. It is not real. Myth busted. So there were some memorable moments from this, but Duelist Kingdom is filled with a lot of good duels, and this one just isn't really up to par. Number 15, Mai versus Taya. This is a duel that most people probably would have towards the bottom, but I actually don't hate this duel. Yes, Taya gets the win in a controversial way as Mai surrenders, but I think it was a really good message on friendship, bonds, and what makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it was really cool seeing Taya step up for Yugi after his traumatic loss against Kaiba, and it was just a heartwarming message overall of courage, and I always felt like this was one of Taya's best episodes, honestly, but the duel quality itself is nothing to write home about. Number 14, Yugi versus Mako, the famous Attack the Moon duel, and Yugi versus Mako is pretty much only known for that, and rightfully so. It's not a bad duel, and I actually like Mako as a character quite a bit, but the duel doesn't have anything crazy special in it outside of the Attack the Moon sequence, which honestly bumps it up to 14th, in my opinion. Number 13, Yugi versus Weevil. Some people view this as the first true duel in the series, and I gotta tell you, man, this duel is at the same time really, really fun and really, really boring. This is one of the longest duels in the entire franchise. I think it's like 38 turns or something ridiculous like that, and there's a lot of turns where the characters just set a monster and pass and literally don't do anything, but there are a lot of great memories from this, and I honestly just enjoyed seeing Yugi beat Weevil more than like a Mako, because I genuinely despise Weevil, and so this one, I think, fittingly, is kind of middle of the pack in Duelist Kingdom. Number 12, Yugi versus Panic. Yugi versus Panic is one that I actually always really enjoyed. I think it's one of Yugi's best trash-talking duels. If you go back and look at the bars that Yugi was spitting at Panic, it is unbelievable. And he did a great job of getting in the mind of someone whose strategy was purely to get into the mind of other duelists. You have the classic Castle of Dark Illusions falling on Panic's field after the Swords of Revealing Light goes away. Just another great Duelist Kingdom shenanigan. And yeah, this one's cool, but again, Duelist Kingdom is loaded. I think 12th is very fair. Number 11, Yugi versus Ghost Kaiba. There were a couple of elements of this duel that I really enjoyed. Probably my favorite is the fact that Kaiba was getting involved from a virtual remote location, and the fact that he was able to hack into the Blue Eyes and hack into the duel field was a really, really fun element. But seeing Yugi have to overcome the quote-unquote ghost of Kaiba and overcome 3 different Blue Eyes White Dragon monsters was actually really entertaining, and I think that propels this duel above some of the other generic qualifier Duelist Kingdom duels, and it just misses out on the top 10 for me. Number 10, Joey versus Bones. This one is pure nostalgia, and I have no problem saying that. This is one of the few duels that I, for some reason, just loved as a kid. I think I loved the Halloween creepiness, dueling in a dark cave element, and honestly, the way that Joey gets this win is kind of hilarious. It's one of the only times the Time Wizard luck strategy fails, and Joey has to rely on Sword and Shield, which is really lethal in this duel, because all of Bones' monsters only have attack. They don't have any defense, and so this puts all of Bones' monsters with 0 attack, and Joey is able to get the win using a genuine strategy rather than just relying on luck, which I always enjoyed. But my childhood memories certainly propel this one into the top 10, whereas most people probably have it outside of the top 10. Number 9, Joey versus Rex. So this is another one that my biasy probably gets it into the top 10, whereas most people wouldn't. The one element that I love about this duel is that Joey finally gets his Red Eyes Black Dragon, one of my favorite monsters of all time. And yes, Joey uses Time Wizard in order to get this win, but there were a couple of elements I really loved. I loved that Rex was kind of dueling for Mai, but at the same time was not dueling for Mai and wanted to win Joey's Time Wizard in order to try to enact revenge against Mai. And in the middle of this duel, Rex raises the stakes, and it ultimately totally blows up in his face, which I always really found very humorous. But this is another classic Joey win, giving him his most iconic monster of all time, and so I think this one deserves to be in the top 10. Number 8, Joey versus Bandit Keith. Our third straight Joey duel on this list, and probably his most impressive win. Taking on Bandit Keith, one of the best duelists in America, and defeating him in the semifinals of the Duelist Kingdom tournament, while Bandit Keith was clearly cheating with cards up his sleeve, was a crazy impressive win. An element that I always loved about this duel was the fact that Pegasus knew Keith was cheating and decided to just let the duel play out anyway, and I'm happy he did, because it gave Joey one of his best moments in the spotlight when he uses Grave Robber to totally flip the duel against Keith. The strategies implemented were great, and I feel like it always speaks to a duelist's quality when they beat an opponent who's not only billed to be very good, but is also cheating and is unable to still get the win. So hats off to Joey for this one. This one comes in at number 8. Number 7, Yugi versus Mai. So the other semifinal matchup alongside Joey versus Keith is Yugi versus Mai, and I think Yugi versus Mai is a slightly better duel. I normally in Yu-Gi-Oh don't love when characters surrender or the duel ends in a no result, but this one actually felt very fitting. Yugi has the iconic debut summoning of Blackluster Soldier, which is an incredible monster and an incredible summoning sequence in general. Mai is frozen in fear, and when her Harpy's pet dragon is destroyed, Mai knows there is no chance for a comeback and just walks away, giving Yugi the win. And Yugi was really in a really tough place at the start of this duel, so I love that Yugi kind of had to overcome his self-doubts a little bit in order to achieve this victory against Mai. It was one of Mai's strongest performances, and of course it's got such an iconic classic summoning in BLS that it deserves to be this high at number 7. Number 6, Kaiba versus Pegasus. One of the more iconic duels of Duelist Kingdom is the great Seto Kaiba getting completely dog-walked by Pegasus right before the semifinals of the tournament begin. I thought this duel did a magnificent job in showing off how lethal, vicious, and cold Pegasus was as an actual duelist. Sure, we got that tease of him beating Yugi at the very beginning of the show, but this duel was crucially important in establishing him as an actual dueling threat. The way Kaiba tried to combat the Millennium Eye powers by just drawing from his deck and slapping down the first monster, and it, of course, being the legendary Blue Eyes White Dragon, is one of my favorite scenes in the entirety of Duelist Kingdom. But ultimately, Kaiba is not strong enough to overcome Pegasus's mind scan with the Millennium Eye, and Pegasus really gets a convincing dominant win using Kaiba's Crush Card Virus against him. It was a win that made us really wonder how the hell anyone was going to take down Pegasus. It did its job wonderfully, and it deserves to be this high on this list. Number 5, Yugi versus Joey. Probably my favorite anime-exclusive duel in Duelist Kingdom. Yugi versus Joey did not happen in the manga, as Yugi simply gave Joey the prize money for his sister's surgery, but the anime decided to add this one, and I'm honestly happy that they did. I think this duel is one of the better quality duels in Duelist Kingdom. Not only do we have the payoff of seeing Yugi and Joey duel, the two winners from the semifinals, to see who gets the right to verse Pegasus, but these are the two main characters of DM, and anytime you see two of the main characters of the show duel, you're usually in for a treat. I will never get over the fact that Yugi was able to use Joey's Time Wizard effect in order to summon Dark Sage, which is just one of the most hilarious gotcha moments probably in all of Duelist Kingdom, and that of course leads Yugi to victory. It's a really fun duel, and Yugi versus Joey kicks off our top 5 in Duelist Kingdom. Number 4, Yugi versus Kaiba, round 1. Well, just like how seeing the two main characters of a show duel is usually can't miss, seeing the main character in his rival duel is also usually can't miss. And I will be totally honest, does this duel deserve to be at number 4 for its quality? Absolutely not. This duel is very primitive, it's very bare bones, it's very not much strategy involved, but this duel ranks this high for one reason and one reason only: Exodia, Obliterate. One of the most iconic scenes in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And yes, you can say this is a really, really uneducated, biased pick to put it this high. I do not care. I will always defend this duel being one of the better duels, not only in Duelist Kingdom, but in the entire show, despite there being really, really a lack of any sort of strategy or actual back and forth. It's got one of the most iconic freaking moments in the franchise. Come on, man. Number 4 is fair. Number 3, Yugi versus Kaiba, round 2. So we're going to keep it with Protag and Rival, and Yugi versus Kaiba get the 4 and the 3 spot of this duel. I know there's quite a few people out there that don't really love the way this duel ends, with Kaiba basically threatening to end his life if Yugi attacks and gets the win, which forces Yugi to take over for Yami Yugi and call off the Celtic Guardian attack in order to prevent Kaiba's death, and it eventually leads to Kaiba winning the duel. I actually didn't hate that moment because I felt it led to some necessary character development in the anime, at least, between Yugi and Yami Yugi, learning how to trust each other and actually work together, being two souls occupying one vessel. And I think it outlines Kaiba's dramaticism really well, because he felt like if he was not able to win and he was not able to save Mocha, there was no point in living. A little dramatic, but I feel like it made sense with how much Kaiba loved his younger brother. The duel itself is ridiculous. You have the Mammoth Graveyard with the spell-shattering arrow and the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon melting. You know, the whole thing is just peak Duelist Kingdom nonsense, but it's a classic, and it deserves to take the bronze medal on this list. Number 2, Yugi and Joey versus the Paradox Brothers. So I don't think there's many people who like this duel as much as I do, but I genuinely believe this is one of the best duels in all of DM, and clearly the second best duel in Duelist Kingdom. There's something about this duel that I always love and never get tired of rewatching. The maze element, the riddle element, the back and forth between the very annoying and pompous Paradox Brothers and Yugi and Joey trying to figure out the riddles. There's so many goofy things that happen in this duel that otherwise would not be possible in a standard Yu-Gi-Oh duel. To me, this is exactly what early Yu-Gi-Oh anime is. It's goofiness, it's got a D&D-like element, and you genuinely don't know what's going to happen. But in this setting, where you have characters trying to escape a maze, trying to overcome two riddle experts and riddle masters, I think it works so perfectly. The setting, atmosphere, and the strategies implemented are freaking awesome, and I wish we had more duels in this format. This is one of the best duels in Yu-Gi-Oh! DM. It's one of the best duels in Duelist Kingdom, and of course, Black Skull Dragon getting the win, using the switch to get through the maze because flying monsters can't fly through the maze, and destroying Gate Guardian was incredible. And also, Gate Guardian, man, it's one of the more iconic monsters in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially early on. So, yeah, really, really cool duel. A lot of amazing moments. Deserves to be this high. Number 1, Yugi versus Pegasus, round 2. I think you guys probably all knew that I was going to have the final duel of Duelist Kingdom at the top spot. And Yugi versus Pegasus is an incredible, incredible duel. Not only the best duel in Duelist Kingdom, but one of the best duels in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! DM anime. An element that I always loved about this duel was the phases. You had the Pegasus dominating early phase with Toon World completely controlling the duel. Then you still had the Toon World phase, but Yugi decided that if he switched out with Yami Yugi, Pegasus couldn't read his mind, meaning if Yugi said a card and then Pegasus tried to read the mind of Yami Yugi, Pegasus did not know what card was set. It was an incredible, incredible duel that showed off the teamwork and strategy implemented by Yugi and Yami Yugi, two absolute gaming masters. But I love that Pegasus tries to neutralize this after losing the advantage with Toon World by taking the duel to the Shadow Realm, really making it a game of darkness in which Yugi's body is not able to sustain itself and Yami Yugi is forced to take over the duel fully, but Yugi leaves one card set, and that card is able to turn the tide. Well, that card, and of course, Karibo and Multiply, which is a combo that was just lethal in Duelist Kingdom. This felt like a true final boss duel because of how strong Pegasus was and how strong the Millennium Eye was. And when Yugi defeats Pegasus, you see that he takes a huge sigh of relief. I think everybody watching took a huge sigh of relief because that's how intense and tough of a battle it was. It is an incredible way to conclude one of my favorite arcs from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yugi versus Pegasus Round 2 is the best duel in all of Duelist Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. I want to thank all of you so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed. If you want to rank these 20 duels, please go ahead and do so. If you only want to give me your top 3 or top 5 or top 10, that's also totally fine. You know I love hearing from you. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We are going to be doing this for every major arc, so the next one will be Battle City, so I hope you're looking forward to that. I will talk to you in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.